Yes, it's working now.
Awesome.
I can see your face. Awesome. So you all, I do realize we're like 10 after 12, and I had announced that we're going to start at 12, but I had a little bit of technical difficulty here. So finally we're working, and I'm really excited because Sienna is one of my very favorite people to talk about oils and all kinds of other things. And I was just telling her how beautiful she looks before we jumped on here, like what's she doing? I have to learn more from her. One of the things that she did mention and remind me of is just how much water she drinks.
Yeah.
It's like I go through phases. I drink a lot of water, and then I'm like, I suck at drinking a lot of water.
Gotta hydrate.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look at me and look at her.
Oh,
I mean, you
stop.
could definitely tell a water drinker versus a not much water drinker. Okay, so this is going to be recorded and stay on in the page here, you all, for those of you who watch later. So that's good. That's one of the reasons I wanted to stream in this group. This Oils for Life community is meant for not only those of you who have been using oils for a long time, but also if you're brand new and you've been added to this page or invited to this group by a friend. We're planning on every week trying to do a conversation like this. I'm excited because the very first one we're doing in the series is with Sienna, and she's going to be talking to us a little bit about digestion, as well as a product we're going to highlight, TerraZyme. And for some of you who don't know what that is, you're going to now know. But before we get started with TerraZyme, and this will maybe be 30 minutes or so, so we won't take too much of your time, maybe not even 30 minutes. I'm going to ask Sienna a few questions so you all can get to know her a little bit. I don't even remember what year it was I met Sienna. It's been many years. But and I know I've probably asked these questions and I know some of the answers, but I want you all to know. How long have you been using essential oil, Sienna? Can you tell us when you started and what got you started?
So I have been using essential oils for almost 20 years. And I have been using doTERRA and had a business with doTERRA for, I was thinking about this earlier. I think I'm on my 9th year. I think 2024 is going to be 10 years for me. And I was actually thinking I need to go back and check my enrollment date. But I think that you and I have been together on this journey for 9 years. And so I have been using doTERRA's oils and our products for going on a decade now, which seems crazy because it feels like yesterday. But 9 years.
That's a long time. I'd say you know a little bit about doTERRA oils, and I didn't realize that you had been. I didn't realize you had been using essential oils a lot longer than that, like way before doTERRA.
Yeah, I had been introduced to oils and natural supplements and different energy healing modalities 20 years ago, and used some different ones. This was, prior to doTERRA even existing. Let alone, doTERRA, being introduced to me. And then very fortunately for me, I was introduced to doTERRA through a friend. She gifted me some products actually for my birthday. And I fell in love with the products and I wanted more. And then one thing led to another. I was introduced to you and Amy and the larger doTERRA community that we've had here for quite a while. And then that segued into me really going, full in with doTERRA products, and then subsequently, starting and building a doTERRA business.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So do you remember, and maybe this isn't super relevant now that I realize that you were using you were a user way before that. I was just your new dealer. I became a new dealer.
Yes.
Do you remember ever having, though, at some point, like this aha moment, like these oils are different? They really can make a difference in my health. And maybe it was before doTERRA, just essential oils in general. Do you remember an aha moment?
Yeah, I definitely had an aha moment. So I know that the present that I was gifted for my birthday was that little trio pack that we had for years of a 5 ml of peppermint, lavender, and lemon. And I loved the lavender, but really my aha moment came a few months later when I tried Digestion. And so it's relevant that we're talking about TerraZyme and digestion as a whole today, but really my first aha came with Digestion. And so struggling with digestive issues, really my whole life, having such a positive experience with Digestion is really when the light bulb went off for me and I realized these products are so different. They're inherently super pure and effective. And that really, was one of the first stepping stones for me, just on my oils journey and more of a wellness journey. Learning about the different products, how they worked for me, for my body, different things that I could start to incorporate to really be healthier and have, cleaner solutions. But yeah, that experience with Digestion was a game changer for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Third question.
Yeah.
Is there a testimonial that since you've been sharing oils with other people, because you started doing this as a business many years ago, several years ago, and I'm sure you probably have several of these, but as I'm asking this question, is there a story or a testimonial that you remember happened that you'll never forget? Like something that happened for somebody that was just like really profound and like, wow. Is there anything that sticks out?
Oh my gosh. I mean, there are so many. And I'm so fortunate that we have so many great testimonials, in my community group that I can think back on. I mean, I can think to someone that, really struggled with respiratory issues and asthma, and having a positive experience with Breathe, and that being a breakthrough for them in dealing with that. And in, their being able to be active and run and exercise. That was such a positive breakthrough. People that have been in periods of sadness or grief and have, found emotional support with oils like Console or Peace. Have been really profound. And I actually was having a conversation this weekend with a friend who is a mother, and she is having some challenges with her 9-year-old daughter, who is very smart and really questions things. And she sort of inadvertently, I guess, watched a movie that the mom thought was okay for kids, but the daughter saw a death scene in this movie of a young girl. And so that started sort of an anxiety spiral for this young girl that, she's questioning things and wanting to understand. And her mom being in education is, they're really working with her to try to mitigate some of those fears and those questions. And she sent her to a therapist, but the long and short of it is the daughter has started experiencing anxiety attacks where she feels short of breath. And so, she's shallow breathing, she's not able to fully get air. And so I said to her, I want you to try this product. It's called Breathe. And it really is great for people. And this comes from, again, somebody in my group who is a school counselor and very adept at emotions and dealing with that. We know that Breathe is really great for people that suffer with panic and anxiety attacks that cause them shortness of breath. Mm-hmm. Oils and Breathe are vasodilators, and they work well to really open our lungs, allow us to get full breath in, and that then calms our nervous system and our parasympathetic nervous system. And so when I was sharing that there is something that I could offer her to try for her daughter, tears welled up in her eyes. And she was like, this is amazing. This is empowering. She could have this in her backpack, and if I weren't with her, she would have, the ability to self-soothe and regulate and handle, those emotional issues. And so, even little things like that, where you can someone has a glimmer of hope and something that is easy to reach for and safe and effective, is so rewarding for me, but I know that it's incredibly empowering for them. Especially when it's, in dealing with a child or someone that you love very much. I think there's just a lot of power in that. And that just happened a couple days ago. So it's super fresh in my mind and a reminder that I've got to get some Breathe to my friend.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It never gets old. Like I have pages and pages of testimonials and every time I turn around, there's another one that I have to add. Fourth question, and then we're going to jump into TerraZyme.
Let's do it.
This is probably going to be really hard for you to actually narrow this down, but do you have a favorite? And the reason I didn't say favorite one, because it's like impossible to have a favorite one. Do you have a favorite 3 oils and or products that you like with doTERRA? Like, what are those favorites?
That's such an unfair question.
I know.
I wish that you would have actually told me this ahead of time so I could really think about this.
I didn't want to.
Um, I think for a long time it was balance, serenity, and digest zen.
Yeah.
I think now I use a lot of sandalwood. I love
Mm.
our MetaPower Advantage. And I would be remiss to not add TerraZyme, even though I know that's what we're talking about. I use TerraZyme, daily. I
Mhm.
never leave home without it, the same way I never leave home without a Digestion touch. So I think, yeah, I mean, I think it ebbs and flows for me and shifts, as we get new products or you go through different seasons of life or different health things that you want to address. It's always evolving. We're always
Mhm.
getting new products to fall in love with. But I am diffusing oils in my home every single day, and I'm using the supplements. And I guess I'll add in there the On Guard hand spray. I mean, that has been just something that I have it multiple on every LRP order. I have probably 2 in my car at any given time, 1 in my purse, 1 in my carry-on. I never am anywhere without that because
Well,
it's just so easy, right?
yeah.
And it smells good, and
Mhm.
use it in so many different ways, not just as a hand spray.
Mhm.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention that.
Well, the thing about when COVID times first started happening, doTERRA sold out really quickly. They went
Yeah.
out. I don't remember how fast it was, but it was like pretty quick that I remember we couldn't buy any for a little bit. And they were like, we have to catch up.
Yeah.
I think ever since then, people were just more aware of, and more concerned with things that are around them every single day. So yeah, I think that that's a good product to mention just because people do want to know what can I use that's not full of junk and
Yeah.
toxins that I
Yeah.
can use with my kid on my kids. So that's good.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
look, I know that germs and, all those things are good for us, to build
Mhm.
immunity, but I also know that, I think I hold myself to a high standard in terms of cleanliness and hygiene. And I know not other people do. And I
Mhm.
travel a lot and I'm in a lot of high touch areas. And I'm out and about for my job. And so for me to just have that there to know, like, okay, my hands are clean.
Yep.
I'm not, touching other things or other people. It's a comfort thing for me. I know I'm doing my part. It smells good, and it's incredibly easy. To keep on your person or, with you at
Mhm.
all times. So
Yep. I want to bring something else up. I'm actually going to do a video this week later, probably tomorrow, on the topic of toxicity. And the reason that it came up, maybe I'll just very briefly mention this to everyone is, Sienna's mentioning all these different products that she never leaves home without. So it's very easy to see that this is her lifestyle. Um, when it comes to toxicity, one of our main reasons that we choose, Sienna uses these products, I use these products, lots of people who are using more holistic, natural, earth-based, plant-based products like this, instead of just straight up chemicals, is the reason that it's lifestyle is necessary. This needs to be part of your lifestyle. Is when it comes to toxicity or reducing the toxic things that you're putting on your body in your body, coming up with a chronic illness or a major disease based on toxicity, because a lot of that does come from toxicity, it typically doesn't happen overnight.
mhm.
It's typically a cumulative thing for all of us. For example, if I'm using a ton of very toxic cleaning products and skincare stuff and whatever that is, lots of food with just chemical preservatives, like, and not paying attention to what I'm putting in my body, you're typically not going to get super sick in the first few months or even the first few years. It usually happens cumulatively until all of a sudden you get a diagnosis. And the truth is that we know toxicity is one of the most high priority things, or at least the high causes of very, very serious diseases, inflammation, stress, hormonal issues, like a lot of the things we all deal with. So it's really important that we kind of swing back to lifestyle.
Mhm.
That really is why I use doTERRA products. That's why they're in my lifestyle, because it's not natural for me to be putting stuff in my body that my body doesn't even absolutely at all recognize. So I think that's super important to remember. That's the reason why we say use the loyalty rewards program, so you can get a lot of free stuff, so you can save money, so it's easier to make this part of your lifestyle. So anyway, I had to just throw that in there because I think a lot of people are like, well, how important is it? Like, do I really need to use essential oils every day? Well, no, you don't have to use them, but you
Yeah.
get to, and why wouldn't you? So anyway, had to plug that. And I'm going to go deeper into toxicity later this week, by the way, for all of you in the group. So TerraZyme, let's jump in.
Okay.
Because it's 12:27. So we'll take another at least 10 minutes, maybe. When did you start using TerraZyme? Why did you choose TerraZyme? What do you love about TerraZyme? Let's jump in.
Yeah, I think I've been using TerraZyme for about as long as I've been with doTERRA, if memory serves me correctly. I brought my bottle out. So, these are the lids that we've switched to on like the On Guard and Digestion bottles. And I saved one and I put it on my TerraZyme. I wish that all of the lids were like this. So maybe you can phone a friend, but I use it so much that this is just so much easier to get these out than the screw top. So if that tells you anything, I've been using TerraZyme for years. Again, I always have struggled far less now with digestive issues because of being able to, start using doTERRA products and make other lifestyle changes over the years. I don't have nearly the issues that I did when I first started on my doTERRA journey, but I use TerraZyme regularly. And I think that whether you have digestive issues or not, TerraZyme is one of the foundational products that every single human can benefit from, regardless of how clean your diet is. Whether you're eating, grass-fed and finished and super lean, clean sources of animal protein, whether you're, a vegan and you have a primarily fruit and vegetable-based diet, anybody and everybody can benefit from the enzymes in TerraZyme. Mm-hmm. And if you are someone that struggles to digest a certain micro nutrient or a macronutrient, if you struggle with, protein digestion, carbohydrate digestion, fat digestion, TerraZyme is going to help. For me personally, and thinking back on it, I remember that I did a cleanse with a local yoga studio and spa partnered with a super clean restaurant here in my community. And they offered this sort of cleanse detox diet for a month. And I decided to do it to just, take a break from some things, try to, change some habits. And it was a very obviously vegetable heavy cleanse. There was no animal protein, no caffeine, no alcohol, no refined sugars. But I realized in that process that my digestion worsened. And I thought, what's going on here? I'm eating the cleanest that I've ever eaten. What's happening? I was having terrible digestive issues. And doing some research and asking some questions, I discovered that I struggle with certain enzymes that break down certain cruciferous vegetables and vegetables that have different types of enzyme properties. And so TerraZyme really at that point became a pivotal product for me. I learned which types of vegetables I needed to limit, to help my digestion. And I would have probably never pinpointed that had I not eliminated all the other stuff, right? So there was so much knowledge, for me in that on my own health journey. But TerraZyme really at that point became pivotal for me. And so I take it all the time. I love taking it at night. I actually, and I don't know if you want to interrupt me, but clearly I could talk about TerraZyme forever, but
keep going.
Your wife was the one that taught me to take it at night before bed. And I'll never forget the analogy that she used. She said, TerraZyme is like scrubbing bubbles. If you want to talk about toxic cleaning products, it's like scrubbing bubbles for your intestines. So it's going to go through and it's going to help eat up and help your body break down and digest the foods that you're eating that maybe you're struggling to break down, or that energy is diverted elsewhere because of high stress or hormonal challenges, and the digestive system isn't able to have enough energy to fully break things down. TerraZyme assists with that. And so I will take TerraZyme if I've had a meal that I know I may struggle to digest, or I'm feeling very full, but I take it at night a lot before bed, just as out of pure habit,
Yeah.
for the benefit of letting my body use those nutrients while I'm sleeping,
Mhm.
to really kind of help. And I wake up feeling really good.
Definitely, especially if, I mean, that's great advice, especially if you're a late evening eater.
Yeah.
Because not only are you gonna, but especially, I mean, even when you haven't eaten a meal like you're talking about, it, if you take TerraZyme on an empty stomach, it's actually still going to help you, because
Mhm.
it's gonna open up, and it's actually going to start doing some of the things that Sienna is talking about.
And I was looking here just to remind myself, it's the alpha galactosidase is the enzyme that breaks down complex polysaccharide sugars in legumes and cruciferous vegetables.
Mhm.
So that was the one that, really was pivotal for me. And I also went to a doTERRA event in Pittsburgh a number of years ago. doTERRA is great about hosting wellness centric events across the country in the fall and the spring. And then, in the fall, it's focused a lot on our new products and education and things that are released. And in the spring, there's focuses just on sort of the wellness pyramid and the holistic overview of a healthier, cleaner lifestyle. And at one of those events, one of our founders, Emily Wright, spoke about TerraZyme. And she spoke about how we have different pathways of elimination in our bodies, and how, if you have an overload in your system and you're experiencing skin issues, often that is directly correlated to the gut, our gut brain connection. And she explained the benefits to our Zendocrine capsule complex, or not soft gel, the capsule, and TerraZyme, and how, our skin is really like a chimney for our body, and how these two products work together to help our body process what we're putting in it, break it down, excrete it through a normal pathway,
Right.
not our skin, or not indigestion or something like that. And that really stuck with me as like, what, this is not oh, I have a bellyache, oh, I'm bloated. This is a foundational health product that belongs in our routines every day.
Absolutely. And the other thing is, a lot of people don't realize, now that you're saying this, the truth around what you naturally have occurring in your body, meaning when you're an adult, the amount of enzymatic action is not the same as what it was when you were a teenager.
Right.
And as you age, we found that those specific enzymes will begin to reduce.
Yeah.
So for you, at some point, it was probably alpha galactosidase.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think the other thing too, we just now typically in our culture, we're not getting many enzymes naturally occurring in our diets, right? Because we're
Nope.
not eating a lot of raw fruits and vegetables. We're not eating fermented foods. We're eating cooked and processed things. And so obviously cooking foods, there's nothing wrong with that, but we're meant to have a mixture of both raw and heat prepared foods. And so if you're someone that doesn't eat raw fruits and vegetables, you are naturally lacking enzymes in your diet.
Right.
And so TerraZyme helps add those back in to your system, to your digestive tract, to help you break down all that you are putting in it, and sort of replace what you're not naturally getting in your diet, the same way that we use, lifelong vitality to add in those micronutrients that we're missing from our diets. Even if we are super healthy, super clean, it's really, really difficult to get all of the micronutrients or enzymes that we need in a normal day. And
well,
so
you hit the nail on the head when you talk about, even if, when you said this a few times, there are probably people that are going to watch this video and they're going to say, well, and I've had people tell me this, I can't eat vegetables.
yeah.
When I eat vegetables, I get sick. Well, You just shared with us what your story was, right? And one of the reasons is maybe whenever you were growing up, you didn't eat a lot of vegetables, or you didn't have a varied selection of foods that you were eating for whatever reason. Maybe your parents didn't make it. Maybe you just, the reason likely is because you were not eating a diet that was very, very widespread and you didn't have enough variety. And so your body is not, you're lacking the enzymatic action. So this right here could just be the answer to the problem.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
For me, I'll share just a minute. I started using TerraZyme almost on a daily basis, pretty much every day now when I eat. It started whenever I had a surgery many years ago. I had my appendix removed. I've shared this before in the group a long time ago. But after my appendix were removed, my digestion completely changed. So, of course, the appendix does play a role in digestion. And so it was almost immediate that I noticed a difference. Like, it's very difficult for me when I eat anything with a bunch of gluten or a lot of dairy, even heavy meat. So I have to, really pay attention to what I'm consuming. But then as I started that path of using it and seeing the difference, I just started using it with everything because I noticed how much better I felt. Can we talk just a little bit about not just the fact that we're breaking things down, Sienna, but also the fact that we're also helping our body with nutrient absorption? How TerraZyme actually helps us with absorbing nutrition from the foods that we're eating.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just also want to add that I have had the pleasure of sharing many meals with Charlie over the last 9 years. And I have a little travel pill case that I keep my TerraZyme in, but not Charlie. Charlie comes with the whole bottle of TerraZyme to dinner. I don't know where he keeps it, but he takes the whole bottle and he goes around like this and says, "Who needs TerraZyme?" So I know that when I'm with you, I don't even have to have my pills, my supplements, because you're going to have it. But to your point, yes, there are two things. So when we eat foods and we go through the digestion process, obviously the goal of digestion is to absorb those nutrients and use them for our health, our vitality, and to keep us functioning. But when we either, lack certain enzymatic properties in our digestive tracts, or we struggle with other things that have compromised the integrity of our system, we then can struggle with nutrient absorption, whether you have leaky gut, whether you have had a lot of antibiotic exposure, if you've had certain surgeries, if you're on other medications for chronic conditions. All of those things can play a role in deterring nutrient absorption. And so if you're someone that struggles with that in any capacity, TerraZyme is great at helping your body begin to reabsorb those nutrients that you're digesting. So, even again, if you're someone that eats a super clean, healthy diet, if something is prohibiting your body from absorbing those nutrients, it doesn't matter, right? And so TerraZyme is going to help us not only break that down and digest things, it's going to allow our intestines to absorb the nutrients that are in the food that we're breaking down. And so, rather than have gastric issues where you're just passing things and you're eliminating and voiding without that absorption, TerraZyme is going to increase the efficiency of your gut and your digestion. It's going to help. Let me also just add, most everybody I think here knows this, but our digestion takes a huge drain on our body's energy stores.
Absolutely.
Right? And so that's why, often when we eat a big meal, we get really sleepy. Everybody jokes, oh, it's the tryptophan in the turkey. No, it's just that your body has to pull energy from other systems to your digestive system in order to process that food, particularly when we eat a large or a heavy meal. And so when you take a product like TerraZyme, you are assisting in that energy pool and that energy load in helping your body break things down faster, and then to give your small intestine the ability to better and more easily absorb those nutrients. And so what you are eating is going to fuel you further when you're taking a product like TerraZyme.
Yep. Yep. Two things, and then we're going to jump to really quickly. I will go really quickly on which specific enzymes are in it and what it breaks down, just so people are clear. Well, what about this? What about that? But let's talk about two real quick things, and then we'll stop. Immunity in skin. So after one of my videos on TerraZyme, maybe 2 years ago, someone made a comment in the thread and said, yeah, I've noticed just how much clearer my skin has become since I've been using TerraZyme. Makes a lot of sense when we listen to what Sienna's sharing here is, you've got this chimney, so to speak, that Emily Wright talked about. And it's not meant, your skin isn't meant to have massive eruptions and breakouts all the time. And what's happening is you're probably not breaking down your food well enough. Correct, Sienna?
That is correct. Yeah. So I was saying that is exactly what I was saying. And I was also saying that if you have the opportunity to attend a doTERRA event in a city near you, go, because you never know what nugget of information you are going, to take home that can have a super positive effect on your wellness or the wellness of somebody you love. If I had not, gone and heard that, I don't know that I would have necessarily, started using TerraZyme with the regularity that I have now. And so those events are amazing. That was the one. There were two morals to that story: chimney and go to events, because you're always going to learn something.
Yep. Yeah. And something else that came up, almost lost it. Back to the lifestyle thing.
Yeah.
We're not just talking about using a product to deal with a symptom. We talked about lifestyle, we talked about absorption, we talked about breakdown, and the whole title of this talk is breaking it down with TerraZyme, right? So how important is enzymes? Well, I think now, right? If you're not able to break food down, you're not absorbing nutrition, and then now you're not getting enough, you're not getting the micronutrients, the macronutrients that you need in your body. And those are really, how important are those, right? Well, they determine how well your body actually works and how long you live and how good you feel and how well you sleep and how well you get along with your neighbor and your husband or your wife. Why? Because it affects every single aspect of your life. That's how important this product is for me.
Yeah. I wanted just to add, I'm trying to think of what I have in my pantry, but I have done this in the past. I don't have any of them right now, but something that you might want to think about doing, or for those of you that are watching, if you want to try this at home, one of my favorite examples is with a bowl of oatmeal, or if you have a like a shelf stable pudding pack, set out your bowl of oatmeal or your pudding and break open a TerraZyme capsule into that bowl and stir and watch what happens to the oatmeal or to the pudding. It will become liquefied before your eyes. It's a great experiment to do with kids. It's a fun way to get them learning and engaged. And just, some people are very see it to believe it. Watching that liquefaction of the oatmeal or the pudding is such a great perspective on what it is helping your body do with all of the different foods that you're eating to help with that breakdown and that absorption. And so if you've never done that, it's honestly super cool. I would 10 out of 10 recommend you try it and see for yourself.
I used to do that at classes. Where we would I would have the host prepare a bowl a bowl of oatmeal, let it actually kind of harden up.
Yep.
You know how oatmeal gets whenever it sits there for 10 or 15 minutes and you don't eat it. So I would open up the capsule, stir it up, leave it, and then like literally 3 minutes later, it's mush.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what your body's doing to all of your food, right? Your food's being completely turned into liquid. So,
and that is, I want to say, the amylase in the TerraZyme, that's what's breaking down the carbs.
Yep. Yeah, it is amylase. In fact, let's go ahead and go through and I'll tell you what we're breaking down, and I'll go quickly through this, unless you have it right there. Do you want to do it, Sienna? Okay, you go for it.
So protease is what is going to break down your proteins. That's going to break those down into peptides and amino acids. The papain is going to break down protein as well. Amylase is going to break down carbs, starches, and sugars. Lipase breaks down fats and oils that will then be absorbed in your intestine. Lactase breaks down lactose in all of your milk products and milk sugars. The alpha galactosidase is what I mentioned, is going to break down those cruciferous vegetables, that those complex polysaccharides, that's going to break those down. So your broccoli, your cauliflower, your garlic, your onion, all of those things, cabbage.
Beans, by the way, legumes, like I used to have
Legumes,
issues.
yeah.
Yeah. I used to get bloating and some gas, and after TerraZyme, that does not happen. That's a big thing for people. I had to bring that. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. And so that's, I think, probably one of the most important ones. And if you look at over-the-counter products like Beano or Gas-X, some of these other things, they're all enzyme products, right? That's what they're doing. So cellulase breaks down sucrose to fructose and glucose for energy. Sucrase breaks down sucrose to fructose. There is an anti-gluten enzyme blend, which I know you love about this product, that assists in breaking down gluten. There is glucomylase, which breaks down starch. Betaine HCl is going to aid in protein digestion. And then it, of course, has the stomach comfort blend, which all of our digestive products have. So that's going to be your peppermint, your ginger, and your caraway. That just helps always, we call it the tummy tamer blend, just always helps soothe the stomach and the digestive system. And you mentioned, Charlie, having your appendix out. I also just wanted to mention that people, and this is, I think, very common in women, especially women over 40 that have had gallbladders removed. This is a great product for anyone that has had an appendix or a gallbladder removal surgery.
And if you have not had your gallbladder removed and you are struggling with gallbladder issues, breakdowns of fat, you can see how, because usually when you have a gallbladder issue, usually if you're eating fats, heavy starches, it'll typically cause some really heavy discomfort. TerraZyme is going to make a huge difference. And of course, there's some other things. By the way, just a side note, totally off the topic. If you are experiencing some gallbladder pain, eucalyptus and lemon oil on the back, spread around within, if you're having a bad attack, usually within 5 minutes, it's like almost immediately soothed. So there's another little tip for you.
Awesome.
Okay. Immunity. We know that the gut is very intricately tied. It is a part of your immune system. This wasn't really planned. It came up from something you said, Sienna. Keep in mind that if your gut is not able to properly do its job, meaning you're having a hard time breaking things down, it is going to affect your immune system for sure. So keep that in mind. We could go on about that even longer, but is there anything else you wanted to add, Sienna? Because I know we have to get off here.
We have covered so much ground. I hope that this has been informative and helpful for anybody that's curious about digestion. If you do struggle with a weakened immune system, if you struggle with inflammation, if you struggle with skin conditions, eczema, psoriasis, breakouts, redness, and rashes, TerraZyme is a great product to start integrating into your wellness regimen. And if you are someone that struggles with the legume, the vegetables, any certain type of gluten, if you know that there are nutrients that you struggle to digest, try TerraZyme. And
by the way, you can get TerraZyme at a discounted rate when you get the Lifelong Vitality. So if you're, and this is another topic, but if you're using Lifelong Vitality, keep in mind, if you put that on your loyalty order, you can get TerraZyme at a discounted rate. I think you save like $10 on a bottle of it. So
you sure do. So I've been buying it like that for years and saving lots of money, and then building up my points to cash in for other stuff. And it's a great loyalty program, that's for sure.
Yep.
Thanks
Okay.
for having me today, Charlie. I appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us. I hope this has been helpful. Lots of people will continue watching this, and we'll talk again next week on a totally different topic. Can't remember what it is, but I'll announce it. I think it's massage and muscle recovery with Gray Evans next week on Wednesday.
Oh, well, Gray is one of the best massage therapists that I have ever known. Mm-hmm. So everybody will be super lucky to hear from her. And if you ever have the chance to meet Gray and get a massage, I highly, highly recommend.
All right. Have a good day,
Awesome.
Sienna.
Thanks, Charlie. I'll talk to
See
you
you
soon.
soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.